Welcome creative minds, welcome to another sewing project. If you're new here, you're welcome to this channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for supporting this channel. So today's project, we're going to be making this beautiful sundress, which was inspired by what we have on the thumbnail. This sundress has a back waistline, a deep v-neck, a gathered underbust ruffle, and also a cap sleeve. And I'm going to be showing you how to do a lot of that manipulation on this tutorial. So do well to watch to the end, as I'll be showing you how you can come about this beautiful dress, whether you want it long or you want it short or you want it even mini. So like, comment, share this video, and ask any question you might have on the comment section. So for this project, I'm making use of a crepe fabric. I have about 4 yards here, but I didn't exhaust it all. So you can use about 3 yards or even 2.5 yards, depending on the size that you are actually working with as well, because the ruffle on the down part is not so much. So the first step now is to go ahead and draft the top parts. Okay, I've gone aligned ahead to align my chest line, bust point, underbust, and waistline. Then for my waistline, I came down by about 4 inches for that back waist effect. Okay, I did this because I didn't want the video to be too long, because this video is going to be a drafting and also a cutting and stitching. So now the next step now is to go ahead and impute your round bust measurement, which I did already on the chest line and the bust point. Though at the waistline now, I'm going to be imputing my nipple to nipple measurements. I'm also going to be imputing it at the down part, that is the 4 inches I marked for the back waistline. I'll do that at my bust point as well, and I'll connect with a straight line, just like I'm doing here in this video. So at that down part, which is the back's waistline point, I went out by ½ an inch on both sides. Therefore at my bust point, I came down by 1.5 inches, and I'm going to be connecting my dart leg all the way down, just like I did, and I'll highlight it with my marker so you can see it very clearly. Okay, so now I'm going to impute my round on the bust measurement, my round waist measurement. I will impute all of that, and my round waist measurement is what I'm also going to be imputing at the down. That 4 inch that I marked is going to be serving as a new waistline for this dress. So I'm impute all my measurements, and I'll go ahead and connect it with my curved rule, just like I'm doing. So I'm going to replace the dart that I took out later on at the course of this tutorial, but now we're going to also go ahead and mark our bust dart, which is 1.5 inches. That's the difference between my front and the back of this dress. So now we'll work on our neckline quickly before we do our dart manipulation. I'm going 3.5 inches here. Then for the depth of my neckline is going to be 11.5 inches. That's because I want it exposed, and I'm going to be curving my v-neck. So you can decide to go this way or go the way I'm doing here. So why I'm doing this way is because I want it to have a little opening, like I want it to be having a curved shape. All right, so whichever one works for you is fine, because this is a deep v-neck. I'll highlight with my marker for you to see. So next time we're going to work on our back effect. So for my underbust, I went down by 1 inches, and I'm going to connect it down to the line I marked for my neckline, just like I'm doing here. So I'm just going to curve it, ensure that I'm giving it a good curve. So you can do this with your free hand, whichever one works for you, because I'm also going to just highlight it with my marker so that you can see clearly what I've done here, just like so. So the next step now is to work on that manipulation, and the first thing I'm going to be doing is to take out gaping from my neckline, like so. So from the top of my neckline, what I have there, I will divide it by 2 and mark it, and I'll come out and I'll connect it to my bust points, just like I did here. Then I'll come out by about 0.5 5 inches like so, and I'll connect it back again to my bust points. This is just to help take out gaping that might appear at my neckline because of how long it is. Yeah, so now I'm going to connect my back waist effect from my waistline. I'll come down by 1 inches and I'll connect to the down part of this dress. That's that 4 inches that I marked after my waistline like so, and I will highlight with my marker for you to see clearly. So I'll just label that my back like so. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and replace my darts that I've taken for my underbust and also my waistline. So after doing that, I'll just go ahead and highlight it and connect it to blend with my bust points, just like I've done here. So now we're going to work on closing all our darts, but before then I'll just cut out the part I won't be needing so that you don't get confused once we start closing all our darts. Kindly pay attention at this point because this method is also going to help you whenever you are making any other dress that is not this dress, to help you to manipulate that and close your darts, especially if you don't want your darts to show on the dress you are making. Yeah, so now we are going to go ahead and open our waist dart firstly, and I'm going to be opening the side that is close to the center front like so. So I'll open that line that is close to the under bust just like so, and I'll go ahead and cut out my neckline as well. So I'll go ahead and close it up. Why I open the neckline is to enable me to be able to close my waist dart. So after closing it, I have a little gaping at that point, so I'll just go ahead and input another pattern paper so as to enable me to close up and also to align the down part of my back waist part of this pattern. So I'll just go ahead and do that, and I will use my masking tape to pin it down properly and cut out. So at this point, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, do wait to hit the subscription button and also turn on your notifications so you'll be notified whenever I post new tutorials on this channel. So the next step now is for us to go ahead and close up for the neckline and that I imputed. But before that, I'll just go ahead and cut out my back waist pattern part, and I'll place that aside, and I'll go ahead and cut out the darts I marked, close up the darts at this point, that's at my neckline point, and I'll pin down with my masking tape. Then I'll go ahead and align my line again properly. You can see that after closing it, the line was not straight anymore, so I had to blend it. So I'll go ahead and cut out after blending. So now the next step is to go ahead and work on our bust dart, and to do that I'll cut out the other excess at my waist dart that I have so I don't forget. I'll go ahead and cut out my bust dart and I'll close that. Remember that this dress has gather at the bust area, that's at the under bust area. So for us to be able to get that gathered perfectly, I'll divide my shoulder by 2 and I'll go ahead and connect with a straight line all the way to the dart that I have at my under bust like so. So I'll go ahead and cut it open all to the tip of the shoulder part. Then I'll go ahead and close my bust darts, and voila, our pattern is finally ready. So like I said, this dart manipulation and dart closing, you can use this method especially if you don't want to have any darts on your dress. You can go ahead using this method to close up all your darts. So I'm just going to open up to the tip of the shoulder line, so that I'll be able to cut out the part I want to gather for the upper part of my pattern. So go ahead and label your pattern appropriately in a way you can understand before cutting on your fabric. So I've gone ahead to cut on my fabric. So I slashed open that part by about 5 inches. So you can do 4 or you can even do 6 inches, depend on you. And then you can go ahead and just give it a notch so that you know the exact point you want to gather when you are gathering on your machine. And I went ahead to cut 2 of this. I cut out another part for the lining. That is 4 pieces in total. And I also went ahead to insert and cloth stay on it, just as seen. I also did the same for the back's waist part as well. I cut it in 2 pieces. 1 piece is going to be for the lining as well. So our back, for the back piece, is very simple. It's just your basic back bodice, which I have on several tutorials on it on this channel. Just your basic back bodice. The only difference is your neck depth should be about 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to use this to cut out for my back pattern. Okay, so I have several tutorial on basic bodice. I will include that in the description box for you to go ahead and watch. So I've cut out for my back piece. I also went ahead to cut out interfacing for it as well, which I'll be using to turn out the neckline. The neckline I use is 3.5 by 1.5 inches, and this is what it looks like. Yeah, so let's go ahead and begin stitching our pattern paper together quickly. So go ahead and insert all your basic allowance. At the side I did 1.5 inches for this pattern. So first step now is to just go ahead and close up my neckline. I'll turn it over with my lining piece, just like I'm doing here. After turning it with my lining piece, I'll just go ahead and insert my gather. So first of all, I'll just go ahead and close up my neckline only for now. I'll close up my neckline and I'll come back to show you the next step to take. So after closing my neckline, this is what it looks like. Yeah, go ahead and give it a good notch and then take it to the ironing table and press it down appropriately. Then after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and create gather stitch at the down part of my dress all the way, and I'll go ahead and gather it to my back's waist line. So I've gone ahead to gather it. So your gather should be more concentrated at the bust area, the under bust area, and not the sides. Yeah, so I'll open up my back's pattern that I've cut out. Remember I told you I cut out 2 pieces and I inserted cloth stay on it. So I'll measure it to get the exact total of what I have there, and to be certain that that's exactly what I have at the upper part of my dress. Okay, so remember that this dress, it has a rope at the center of the neckline. So I'm just going to notch the center points of the back's waist part of this dress. I'll do that as well for the lining, and I'll go ahead and bring my rope. So my rope is going to be 1 inches. So I'll ensure that this my upper part is placed at the center point. So one placed at the center and the other placed at the center, like so, and I'll put my rope in between. So my rope is about 1 inches. So just use 1 inches for your rope and fold it properly. So this is my rope. So the length of my rope, I can't really remember, but it shouldn't be so long, just a moderate length rope. So just go ahead and place it at that center point. So for easy way, you can just place one on top of one part of the upper part and the other at the other side. So just ensure that it's straight. You can pin down so that you will get a good outcome. So this is what it looks like by the time I was done stitching. You can see how beautiful our dress is already coming out. So now the next step now for us is to go ahead and insert the other piece to close up the rough edges that is at our top. So just go ahead and pin at the center and stitch one side, and go ahead and stitch the other side as well. So after doing that, this is what my front looks like, and this is what my back look like. You can see how beautiful it's looking. Go ahead and give your inside a notch and cut out any excess you might have, and that will be all for the front part. So next is to work on the back piece. So for the back piece, remember I told you I cut out interfacing for it. I'll just bring it out and I'll turn my neckline for my back piece first before joining the shoulders. So I want the zipper I'll be using to cut across the upper part and also the flare for this dress. So I'll just be doing the neckline first. After turning the neckline, I'll go ahead and give it a good press, and I'll bring my pattern like this. Then I'll place the front part of my dress to be able to go ahead and close up my shoulders. So just pay attention to how I'm going to be closing my shoulders. I'll place it like so, and I'll turn the other side like this, just to have a very neat outcome. So I'll go ahead and pin down, and I'll do the same for the other side as well. So after joining my shoulders, I'm going to be joining the side of this dress. So before joining the sides of your dress, ensure that you measure all your circumference measurements and mark it appropriately to have a fitted outlook, just like it is. And before you also join the side, ensure that you place the up and the back, and to ensure that the side aligns. So I cut out the excess I have at that point, and I go ahead to pin down before I'll go ahead and insert my measurement and stitch. I'll do the same for the other side. I will align it, both my front and back, and cut out the excess that I have there, just to have a very neat looking dress at the end of the day. Yeah, so after doing that, this is what it looks like. Remember I told you that I'll be inserting my zipper much later, so I'll go ahead and mark what I have all round on this dress, because that is what I'll use to gather my flare by the time I'm inserting it. So this dress I'm making is a short dress. If you're making a long dress, this is the point where you will determine the length of your flare. So the length of the flare that I worked with was 20 inches, and the upper part of my dress was also about 20 inches. So my dress length is about 39-40 inches, 38 inches by the time I fold the down part of my dress. So I went ahead to gather the upper part that I'll be inserting on the top part of this dress, and I'll go ahead and insert it just like so. I'll go ahead and insert it from beginning to the end of my top part. So voila guys, this is what it looks like by the time I was done inserting. You can see how beautiful our dress is looking already. So the next step now is to go ahead and close up and insert my zipper at the back. Then we'll work on our sleeve. So my sleeve is, the sleeve is a cap sleeve. It's very easy to, I'll just go ahead and illustrate how you can come about it. So for instance, this is my pattern paper. So just mark about 2 inches at the upper part before measuring what you want for the sleeve. So the sleeve length I worked with is 7 inches. Okay, so at that 7 inches, just go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting out from the 7 inches, because this is more like a cap sleeve, so just measure appropriately your round arm that you're working with and impute it there. Then because there's a gather at the cap sleeve, I'm going to now extend the curve all to the 2 inches that I mark at the top. This is just to give that your sleeve a very puffy look at the top part, and you can go ahead and cut out and cut your sleeve on fold using this method. So this is what I used in cutting out my sleeve. And yeah, this after cutting out, this is what I have. Yeah, so at that upper part, you impute a gather stitch at that point, and I'll go ahead and close up the down part and insert my elastic on it. Okay, So after inserting my elastic and I went ahead to gather the upper part, this is what my sleeve look like. You can see how beautiful it's looking. Like I said, it's a cap sleeve, it's a very small sleeve. So this is what it looks like, and I gather the upper part. So now is to go ahead and attach it to our dress and hem the down part of our flare on the dress, and that's basically it. Yeah, so I've gone ahead to insert my zipper neatly, just like I said I would. And the next, I also went ahead to hem the down part of my dress. Next now is to go ahead and insert my zipper, and that's basically all for this tutorial. Yeah, so go ahead and insert your sleeve, and that's basically all for this tutorial. I hope you learned something. See you in my next video. Bye.